It's really interesting. I think pre-pandemic
Yeah.
at the Academy in 2019, if I'm getting my dates right, during the opening session, they showed a slide or two delineating the breakdown of ophthalmologists who are at academic centers, who work in hospitals, and who are in private practice or solo practitioners. And I think there was a third of ophthalmologists who were in solo private practice. I feel like we're the last frontier, we're one of the last subspecialties where there's still a significant amount of the practitioners that are in private practice that haven't been, bought by the hospital system, that haven't migrated back towards the academic institutions. Do you still like in a post-pandemic world, that's still the way to go? Do you think that's feasible?
Um, so in a post-pandemic world, how are things changing? And I think, the field is constantly in flux, and I feel like things ebb and flow. And for the young ophthalmologist that's coming out of training, I think they have a few different paths. They can look at an academic path, working for a hospital system. You can look at a private practice path, or you can look at a private equity path. And I see that there's this term called sort of fragmentation of a market or of a field. And let's say dentistry would have been termed a very fragmented field. And then investment groups, let's say like private equity, looked at that fragmentation and saw an opportunity to have consolidation. And with consolidation, having some economies of scale to hopefully then provide either better care or more economical care, more efficient care, broad spread care, maybe having better contracts, whatever it might be. And so you look at what's happening in ophthalmology, there's definitely been a trend towards consolidation through this sort of fragmented market. So without a doubt, traditionally you would have had, let's say, strong academic institutions coupled with a number of private practices, but smaller private practices that were sort of fragmenting a general market. And so over time, you've seen consolidation. It's not necessarily always consolidation through private equity. You see this consolidation through the strong practices, let's say, buying some of the retiring surgeons. And with the complexity of healthcare and EMR and insurance contracting, there is some sort of safety in numbers that's going on. But even that itself can be a trend where over time, as the market changes, we might start seeing more boutique practices coming out that are sort of saying, we don't necessarily need EMR. We don't necessarily need to bill insurance. Let's go cash pay. And so you might see a new wave of independent practitioners, solo practitioners going out hanging a shingle, which for a while wasn't so common, but we might start to see that as the market tends to shift or change. You might start seeing, let's say, in-office cataract surgery being an alternative to, let's say, an ASC cataract surgery or hospital-based cataract surgery. And the reason being is sort of as the markets change, the young doctors are going to, the young, strong providers are going to look to see what's the best way to provide the best care for a given market. And maybe that's within a health system, maybe that's within private equity, maybe that's within, a boutique practice that's self-pay, let's say. So it's interesting. There's always going to be ebb and flows and changes in practice patterns. But I think regardless, it's still a great field with a lot of innovation. So there's a lot of opportunities along one of those paths.